So good morning. As we walk into the classroom, you guys all know what we need to do. We got to start with the
Do now.
The do now. So today is September 25th. Our do now is what are the two time periods prior to the Renaissance? So we have talked about the Renaissance tree. The soil is the two time periods. I need you to identify in your do now journals what time periods are prior to the Renaissance, and then why do you think the location of the roots of the Renaissance plants tells us about the relationship to the previous time periods? That is your do now. Eyes up here. Our word of the day. The word of the day is classical. What is the word of the day? Classical. So when I think about the word of the day, classical, I think about the time period being classical, and I think about the art that you guys, you know, they all have the statues, and the art period is classical. So the word of the day is what? Fantastic. You may take about 3 minutes to complete the do now in your journals, and then we will continue with the lesson. Pass your notebooks nicely to Julian. And Julian, he is the book master.
I am.
Please nicely, very nicely, put it up. Avery's there. Julian, please don't. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about 3 different pieces of art. Our objective today is to identify the characteristics between the 3 different time periods of art. The 3 time periods, who can guess what number 1 is? Maya, what is number 1?
Never mind.
Okay, Kaya, what is 1 time period?
Classical time.
Classical times?
Yeah.
What is it, number 2? Julian. Number 2 is what? We've been looking at them. It's recording the ceiling. Number 2 is objective. Angie, what's number 2?
Medieval.
What is number 2? Medieval. And number 3 is?
Renaissance.
The Renaissance. So today's objective is to identify the characteristics between the 3 different time periods of classical, medieval, and Renaissance. Okay. So the first time period we're going to look at is the classical. On your desks in front of you, you have a handout. As we go through and we read all of this information, I would like you to follow along in the pages. So when we start looking at the classical period was the first period, and then we have the medieval period, and then we have the Renaissance. So the first period we're looking at is the classical. The classical was solid blues and the solid reds, correct? Okay. So what we are going to do in your interactive notebook, open it now in the middle, we have the matrix, which is on page 3. Do you see the matrix on page 3?
The matrix?
The matrix on page 3.
Right, that's all.
This is a part of fulfilling our objective to identify art from the 3 different time periods. What is our objective? Who knows what our objective is?
To fulfill things.
Whoa. We are looking to make sure you can identify art from the 3 different time periods. So we are now going to look at classical, medieval, and Renaissance. I'm going to do the first category to show you how to do this, what I expect out of you. Okay, we got the classical art. Same thing up here. Why was this type of art possibly created? Why do you think this art was possibly created? I'm going to say to myself, well, I know that they like to do sculptures, and I know that they like to do sculptures out of important people. So I think this artwork is about sculpting people to recognize important leaders. So I'm going to write, recognize important people. Okay? They wanted to tell the stories of athletes, because when I look at the art, there's a lot of the athletes, the guy who's like throwing the whasha and all those other individuals. You need to wake up, buddy. Okay, you are? Yeah. Good job. So they're celebrating. Celebrating. Are you writing with me?
No.
Celebrating their sports.
Can you write it?
I will. Okay. So this is the classical time.
Hey, why is there a laser point on? Oh, I see now.
What? To celebrate, we're going to celebrate. To celebrate the athletes. The second, it's nude stone fabric. The body is relaxed or in motion. Okay. Does that make sense how I looked back at what we had just seen? Julian, stop hitting yourself.
No, it's true.
Oh.
I'm trying to go like this.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the next column is medieval. Let's do this one together. Okay, I'm going to call on people with my random generators because I like my random generators. Oh, we like the random generators. And the first is Mason. Mason, why do you think medieval art was possibly created? Why do you think medieval art was possibly created?
Art is art.
But why do you think they created it, Mason? Do you want to pass it and then come back? Angie, why do you think it was created?
To show the past or
What kind of past were they looking into? There was a specific thing that they like to draw. What?
the dog.
Look at your notes. What was it that, do you want to pass it? Pass it, Kaya. Who were they focusing on? Jesus and Mary.
I just said that.
But your hand wasn't raised. Jesus and Mary. Angie, what did they want to focus on?
The past.
The past being Mason. What was it that they wanted to focus on? Jesus and Mary. They were all about telling the Bible stories. Okay. And Julian, if you have questions, we raise our hand. Okay? Raise your hand if you have questions.
Okay.
Or if you want to participate. Okay? Okay. 2, we're going to break up into our groups. You will have about 4 minutes to work with your group to identify why do you think the Renaissance art occurred and what are the characteristics of that artwork. Does everybody know what they're doing? Thumbs up if they do, thumbs to the side if they don't, thumbs to the down if you're thinking, Mrs. Chavez, I have no clue what you want me to do. Just show me your thumbs. Show me your thumbs. Okay. So when we break up into the groups, my expectation is within 5 minutes, you and your group will answer the question, why do you think this artwork was created? What were the people in this time period doing that they wanted this art? Okay, you may look back into your note packets to identify the why, and then you need to look at the 2 characteristics and identify 2 characteristics of Renaissance art. Like we did with medieval, dark, less expression, no people in the background, murals, mosaics, stained glass. You're going to do the exact same thing for the Renaissance. Thumbs up if you now understand, thumbs to the side, thumbs to the down if you're still struggling. Okay, I got it. Yes, Julian.
Me and Anderson be partners.
I have the partners identified. When I say the word of the day, and the word of the day is classical. When I say the word of the day, you guys will break into your groups. One group will come over here and sit on the floor. One group will go over there and sit on the floor. Okay? The groups, you have the classical group, which is Kaya, Avery, Julian, L, and Angie and Emmett. You guys are over on this side. You are classical group. Medieval group, you are Julian R, Mason, Maya, Bree, and Anderson. You are over there. I need you to complete the matrix. I will come by to check for understanding. We're going to come back to our seats in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The word of the day is classical. If you could all please come to our seats.
Get off my...
Really quick. Okay. So, not right now. Come on, guys. Let's do the Renaissance. I need to know, how did your groups work? Mason, I need you back into your seat. How did the groups go? I would like Avery to report back on your group. How did your group go? What was the reasons for the Renaissance artwork? No. What are the reasons for the Renaissance artwork? Avery, what'd your group come up with? Okay. You didn't get that one. Did you get the other one?
Wow.
Angie, you got it? Tell us. What?
More emotion.
More emotions.
No, I haven't.
What?
Nothing.
She's copying you.
No, I didn't copy you. Can I said I didn't copy.
Angie? Angie?
I'll trade you.
Brianna, what did you get? Step 2, what do you have? 2 characteristics.
More action. They were new or clothes, and they were doing like tasks.
Action. They were doing tasks. Okay. What else? Maya, what do you have?
I have one.
Okay, so now we are going to see our objective. What was our objective? Do you guys remember? There were 3 different time periods that we looked into. What were the 3 time periods? Classical, medieval, and Renaissance. Okay, so now this is independent. You guys are going to go on your Kahoot, and I need to check to see what you know. Are we ready?
No, I don't know anything.
Okay, here we go. Here is your game pen. We are ready. You are looking, if you need to, you may reference the information we looked at earlier that is in your interactive notebooks to check your answers. Medieval, classical art. 9 questions. Are you ready? Determine which historical period this work was likely created. When was this work created? Classical, Anderson, medieval, and Renaissance. Shh. Classical, Renaissance. No, excuse me. I'm going to tell you right now, the expectations I have set for you, this is not a dialogue when we are done. Okay? Renaissance. Why was that period Renaissance? Raise your hand if you saw some clues in that period. Angie, what did you see? What did you see, Angie?
They're like this.
This one?
Yeah.
What is it called? God-touching man. Okay. Yes, Julian.
Because they're, the background there's more of a background than any other time period.
There is
Except for ours right now.
There is perspective. That is called the perspective in the background. Okay, let's go for the next one.
7th place.
I'm not there playing. Who's first? Who's second?
Okay, you guys, you did an excellent job at identifying which time period these pieces were in. You gave very good logical reasons of why you thought these. The one that we did not, that a lot of people were confused about.
Mary holding that guy and was like had the clothes and it was made by Miss Michelangelo.
Yeah.
Which,
No, not
the sculpture?
Michelangelo.
Which one are you thinking of?
The one where the person's like lying that other person and there's
What do we guess?
and everyone guessed.
Okay, guess what? We are all going to come back and we're going to look at that piece together and we will determine why it was where we put it, in what time period.
I think I have an explanation.
Okay, so hang on. I would like you all to close your computers. Okay? And what we're going to do is clean up from this.
Go
I would like the right side of the room to please go and put your computers away. and wait for a minute, and then the left side of the room can put your computers away.